equal proportion, and INEC has not done anything to address this
problem.
So for me, when you are awarding a student a distinction, which is a first class, that student is an all-round A student. It's an A and A student. When you have a mix of a C and a D and a B and then some A's, it cannot be a distinction. That's my position.
In numerical allotment, what percentage are you giving to INEC overall?
Please take note of
before we come to your state, because your own state issue, I must tell you, is a localized issue, and not just localized issue. You may be talking out of your own personal conviction and not out of generality of what happened. Because if you are on the side of APC, for instance, and you are talking about Akwa Ibom State, you are talking on the side of APC, obviously we don't expect you to allot high marks to INEC. But if you're on the side of PDP from Akwa Ibom State, you will give INEC distinction. Overall, what marks are you giving INEC?
But gentlemen, remember the assessment is not just the elections. We're looking at the entire process.
Yes, I mean, when we talk about
demo of
when we talk about that, we are looking at even voter registration, distribution of PVC, introduction of card reader, the test run of card reader, and the rest of all those issues. Announcement of results, and then we are now going to post-election issues, right? Which, to a large extent, is now in the realm of the tribunals. So, what mark are you allotting INEC? We're not talking about, I didn't say that is why
I'm saying overall, let us look at the broad picture. For INEC, they've done well, but I do not think anybody who is looking at how grades are awarded based on actual performance will give INEC a distinction. INEC does not deserve a distinction. Why do I say so? There are pockets of failures here and there as far as this process. I will be looking at process. Take, for instance, in my own state of Akwa Ibom, because I will illustrate this thing empirically with what you are familiar with, and then we now span out to other parts of the country. In my state, for instance, INEC announced a governorship, a winner in the governorship election. But that was, 31 local governments summed up together. But cannot announce 3-1. But cannot announce for Akwa Ibom one single member of the House of Assembly that has won election. And the argument is, why was it possible to get the figures for 31 local councils and not possible to get a figure for one local council?
Are you telling me?
That calls to question the kind of performance that we are, seeing from INEC state by state, and which is why I'm saying an A and A student is the only student that can get a distinction. Not a student who has a mixed bag of D's and C's.
I don't agree with you is you had earlier said distinction does not mean 100%. And I want to ask you, what percentage are you allotting to INEC?
That is why I'm
numerically, we take it from there. What is your pass mark? 40%?
A pass mark is that you've done well.
What percentage?
You've done well.
What percentage?
But it is not.
Now, as a teacher, and let me tell you, as a teacher, or rather, as a former teacher, 40%. I gave you that example. Universally, 40% is a pass mark.
50% is a pass mark as well.
No. You pass from 40%.
That's right.
Pass for. So, are you now allotting INEC 40? Or are you allotting INEC 70 or 75? Let us take it from there.
INEC given, I'm telling you,
I am not expecting
specific cases,
allocation of 100%.
Specific cases because specific cases in Akwa Ibom, specific cases in Rivers, specific cases in Abia. INEC cannot get a distinction.
There are three.
A distinction is an A and A performance.
There are 3 states. Okay, yes. You don't want to allot marks, but let me allot INEC 75%.
No,
you agree with me?
That is not N.
Do you agree with me?
INEC did not N 75%.
Good. Let me allot INEC 70%. You agree with me?
I know 70% is an A performance.
Oh, good. Do you agree with me?
Did not get an
if
A.
You don't agree with me on 70%, I will prove it to you. Because elections are inconclusive as at now in Imo, Taraba, and Abia. 3 out of 37. 36 states plus FCT. That is 37. 3 out of 37. That gives you what percentage? That means 34 over 37 are right and good. Okay? And that is a clear A. A clear A. INEC is a human institution, and we don't expect it to achieve 100% naturally, because it is dealing with politicians who themselves, some of them are terrible people who want power at all costs, by all means, in any manner, vote fair and foul. But having managed them this far, from issue of voter registration down to announcement of results, I must at this point give INEC 70%.
No, INEC cannot get 70%. INEC cannot score 70% and above, which is an A performance, because I have told you, INEC has a lot of downsides.
Okay,
even in terms of
those downsides are taken care of.
They've not been taken care of.
Okay, you know what? Ibo, let's look at what are those downsides that is causing INEC.
That is causing INEC.
Now, let's look at the downside.
Yes.
The world cannot be wrong. Let's look at the case of Akwa Ibom. I said I speak passionately about Akwa Ibom because not only that I'm from there, I witnessed it. And I saw a monumental fraud committed, and it's being endorsed by INEC in Abuja. That should not happen. I say the world cannot be wrong. Why do I say so? The United States government, represented by its embassy here in Lagos, said the election in Akwa Ibom was not valid. It wasn't done according to the electoral law and INEC regulation. The European Union election observation team said election in Akwa Ibom, election in Rivers State, the United States government also said so, election in Rivers State were not conducted according to the book. And the civil societies organization also said the same thing. In other words, all round.
You are talking about
they have said elections were not done, not only in Akwa Ibom, in Rivers.
And that's what I'm saying.
The elections were not done according to the book. And yet, you have INEC endorsing those elections by announcing those results.
Ibo, when these people said the elections were not conducted, what are the reasons they gave for saying that?
Now, in the case of Akwa Ibom, for instance, I will keep referring to Akwa Ibom because I'm familiar more with
that was where you were.
Yes, I was. I couldn't have been everywhere else. And of course, I have to rely also on the report of observers who are, they don't have a personal stake in this election. They are independent. Now, in the case of Akwa Ibom, they said elections were not conducted according to the book because, one, election materials were not supplied to most part of the state. Number two, these elections were marked by thuggery, violence, and killing. These are verifiable facts about Akwa Ibom, about Rivers, and a few other states. And that is why I'm saying that even in Abia State. That is why I am saying, for you to get an A, you must be, for you to get a distinction, you must be an A and A student.
Okay. Mr. Zako, why do you say INEC deserves a distinction?
You see, the aspect where I don't agree with my friend Ebino here is, when you talk of getting an A, we have narrowed it down to an A starts from 70%, right? Now, the other 30%, you can now put it to fallibility of human nature. A student who makes a 70% in an exam makes an A. And if he succeeds in making 70% in all his courses, he comes out with a first class or with a distinction. So, if INEC has performed in 33 states plus FCT, and your issue and quarrel is with 3 states, and you say INEC does not deserve an A, then you're not being fair to INEC, or you are not being rational in your allotment of marks. You are talking about snatching of ballot papers, ballot boxes, thuggery, and all that. Those things didn't start today in Nigerian electoral process. I'm coming.
Hold on.
Those things were not done by INEC. Oh. Okay? Now, INEC has managed to handle institutions and humans in 33 plus 1, 34 areas, states, plus FCT. Well, and your quarrel is with those 3. You are not being fair enough to INEC. We expected that there will be such problems. We did not even expect that the problems will be as minimal as you are positive.
No.
If you are even talking about pre-electoral era.
You are not right, because INEC did not, go wrong in just 3 states. There are other states in the country where INEC has equally gone wrong. People are querying the result in Ekiti. People are querying results in many other places.
Does it mean that once a loser Once a loser does not accept the result, does it translate to the umpire not doing well?
It's not just a loser. If
No, that's the question.